Hello YouTube, it's me Video Gamer, and today I'm going to be drawing Link and the Skyward Sword from The Legend of Zelda: The Skyward Sword. Didn't see that one coming, did you? I'm going to draw these characters in such a way that it sort of matches the actual style of the game and of the artwork that I'm drawing from. So, without further ado, let the drawing begin. Yeah, I'm not throwing myself off camera that time. You thought I would, didn't you? But I didn't. Let's start drawing. So, in starting off this drawing of Link and Skyward Sword, also called Fi, I guess. Fi? I don't know how to say it. Probably Fi, but we're gonna start off with a simple sketch of our characters and where we want them to go. We're just gonna start off with very simple shapes, sketching our way into our design. So this looks good for my general sketch. I probably put in 20 minutes just on that sketch. But we need to get a move on if we hope to get this drawing done anytime soon, which will probably be 2 days. Just kidding. I don't know how long this is going to take me. I started this drawing pretty late. But the important thing is Link's eyes, and we're going to get started on those right now. We're going to start off with shapes just like this. They're sort of triangle type squares, which was very undescriptive. That's what they are. They're kind of smaller than that. I oversize everything at first. But this is just our sketch, so whenever you're doing this, make sure you're sketching, because if you aren't, you might mess something up. Still working on this a little bit. We got around the edges here, just like this. So we'll put his nose about, well, maybe not there. We're gonna figure this out. Put it about halfway down his face, like that. Draw in his eyebrows. Link can have some pretty angry expressions sometimes. We're gonna angle these down. And we do need to give Link a bit more forehead than I originally planned. Now we're going to take a mechanical pencil and we're going to just figure out where we want Link's eyes to be. I want them sort of forward like this, like he's looking ahead, angrily at something, probably an enemy he just sliced and diced and destroyed. And then we're going to add a glare and his pupil right there. One of the many things you gotta realize about drawing characters like this is that the face oftentimes makes the character look like who they're supposed to be. Clothes and stuff do a major part as well, but you gotta have your facial features right. So, get the eye down just like this, and we're sort of going to outline that a little bit better here. And this eyebrow is actually supposed to disappear underneath his hair once we get it there. Before I go any further with the eyes, I really want to start getting some of the hair into the drawing so I can figure out how this is going to look in the end. And first things first, I'm going to just generalize how his hair actually looks. He's got a rather large spike going down across his eye, or his eyebrow actually. It doesn't actually touch his eye. And then we got the second spike here. And this one's also above the eye, just going through the eyebrow a little bit. And I think we've got the face pretty much complete. And then we're going to make sure that his hat is the way we want it to be. And then we're going to continue on down to the body, going from the neck, drawing what needs to be drawn. And we've got a little bit more sketching to do before we can start on the real details of the body. We're sketching his collar up here. And then what I originally planned for the drawing was to include a little bit of perspective with how Link was holding his sword. So I made his arm seem like it was getting larger as it went this way, as if that part of his body was closer to the viewer, which is you guys, or whoever's looking at the drawing at the time. Perspective can be a great way to make your drawings look a little bit more interesting than they normally would. You just gotta know how to use it. And just like the game artwork, we're sort of going to have a trail coming off of it. We're gonna see if we can make that look like a little bit of watercolor art. Coming down to the legs, we're gonna work on his tunic a little bit. One thing I didn't really notice before was the chainmail armor that Link has underneath his tunic. I thought they didn't include it in this game, but I guess they did. So we're going to include that as well. And you're not going to be able to tell that it's there at the moment, because my sketch is kind of messy. But we'll work on the details later. He's also got some chainmail on his arms a little bit. Just didn't show it a whole lot. And here, we're going to have Link's knee. And the style of Link's pants has actually changed a bit from what they were last like. I guess they've gotten a little bit puffier now. So we want to make sure that we include as much detail about that as we can. Well, maybe not that much detail, but you know what I mean. We got his boot coming down here, and this foot is going to be a lot smaller than his other one because it is in the distance. Coming back onto Link's other arm, I'm going to just draw it in real quick. And in this hand, we're going to have Link holding a classic Hyrulean shield. It's going to be about that big, and it's sort of going to be tilted to the side like this. So that way you see a little bit of the front, but you don't see all of it. And he doesn't actually have a solid grip on the shield, so it's kind of flailing a little bit. And I think our sketch is turning out pretty good. I really like how this drawing is coming along. I've already completed a lot of the details on Link, such as this leather belt / band going across his chest to hold his scabbard, and also the belt going across his tunic down here. But other than that, they didn't really add that much detail onto Link's character for the Skyward Sword, but his sword did retain a lot of detail. So we are going to get started on this thing, the Skyward Sword. And for something like this, I'm pretty sure that you would want to have a source picture to go by, because this is a very complicated piece of smith work. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but it'll work. Alright, so I had my sketch already basically done, but this is not the Master Sword, by the way, for those of you who think it is. It's just not. We've got 3 bands coming up just like that, sort of like wings, and we actually need to move them away from the blade a little bit more. These are some really hard shapes to draw because I'm not quite sure where they're supposed to go in relation to this thing. I'm just sort of guessing a lot, but I'll see if I can make it look right. And pretty much the other side mirrors the first side that we drew. I get these details in just like that. And then we've got a circle coming out around just above Link's hand. Put that in like that. Like I said before, I'm utilizing a little bit of perspective in this drawing, sort of give it a little bit more interest. And the sword gets bigger as it comes this way because it's supposed to make it seem like the sword's actually closer to you guys, viewers, or whoever's looking at the drawing at the time. And the blade actually isn't just one solid part like I've drawn it out to be. It's actually thinner near the bottom. It has a little bit of a difference in it. And from this bulge here is where we have the blades actually split along the sides here. Got one blade on this side and the other blade on that side. And on this blade here, the Triforce can be found in all its Triforce glory of Triforceness. And we're gonna have a little bit of detail coming around that. And that's getting a bit super detailed, but I think it helps out a lot, making the drawing look awesome by the time we get done with it. So the sword's done. Now we're going to draw the Hyrulean shield on Link's other hand. Now the shield, I think, in Skyward Sword is a little bit different from what you guys would be used to, but still retains much of the same design as the previous shields of the franchise. I want to make it seem like there's a little bit of depth. I guess depth is a better word, but I'm going to make it seem like there's a little bit of depth between the metal holding it here and the actual plate itself. And I'm going to do the same at the bottom here. And about here, this edge, we need to incorporate another plate. I guess it's not a plate, another edge sticking out from the border. Got a little bit of a bump on the bottom of the shield there, sort of like a screw. And then in the center of our shield, we have yet another Triforce. And that's sort of going to be closer to the top than anywhere else. You're only going to get to see half of it because of how I placed it. The cool thing about this Triforce is that it sort of pops up a little bit. So you're going to get to notice that. I'm just going to bring the edge of it just above the side of the metal a little bit. Just like that. And then we've got a little bit of the design work going around the Triforce itself. We're not going to worry about it too much. It's just there for looks. We're not quite done with our drawing yet. We've got another special character to add in. And her name is Fi. Oh, I'm not quite sure what her name is. But she is, in a general sense, hopefully I'm right on this, she is the Skyward Sword spirit type thing. No spoilers, people. I plan on getting this game someday. She plays a major role in the story, I think, and she works as sort of like a companion to Link, like Midna, except not as annoying, hopefully. I don't know. And her head sort of juts out there. And at the top, it looks like she's wearing some sort of hood. And it seems like this hood looking thing sort of merges into her neck there. She's got a rounded chin, and she has a very strange looking face. She's got a very long nose, sort of starts at the top here. Very angular, very defined. Comes down to about here at a point. Splits off like that. Her eyes are pretty big. In the center here, we have a little bit of a gem detail. Right below that, we have her lips. And she's not really going to start looking like herself until we get our colors in there. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to finish up the rest of this character. Got her arms coming to the sides here. And in the center of her chest here, maybe a little bit lower, we have a large diamond-shaped gem. And then from there, what should be her arms actually turns out to be a somewhat cape-looking thing. Yep. And I can see what the problem is here. Need the cape to go back farther behind her. That's better. And then we have a few rolls or wrinkles in the cloak that actually lead back up to the point of the diamond at the top there. Then I decided to have the rest of her cloak coming around behind Link, all dramatic like, just like this, to add a lot more flair to the drawing. And back to her face, I'm pretty sure I made it kind of too big, so we're gonna shorten it a bit. She still has some pretty big eyes. So these little spikes coming out behind her. We need to round off her chin a little bit better. And about here. And her head should follow. And now that our drawing's done, rather than just going directly into coloring, I usually like to first take a fine point Sharpie, such as the one I'm using right here, ultra fine point to be specific, and I outline all the drawings I want to keep in my drawing. This really cleans up my lines a lot, and it makes it so that I don't lose my details whenever I'm coloring. It's very useful for getting your drawing to sort of pop. Gives it a very graphic look. And typically this step takes the longest, mostly because you have to go back over all those lines you just made, but also because you need to make sure that you go very carefully. Because unlike with the pencil, you cannot erase Sharpie. So now that I've finally finished outlining everything and pretty much smearing my drawing to no end, I'm ready to get rid of all this pencil. Pencil is a great place to start whenever you're drawing, but whenever you're about to color it with colored pencils, oftentimes you will find that you lose your lines. So what I like to do is I like to take a large eraser like this, and I like to erase all the underlying pencil from the drawing itself, so as to clean it up before I begin using colored pencils. And sometimes you miss a few spots here and there. That's okay, just fill it in, and continue erasing until you get rid of all that pencil. So here's the deal, we got our whole sketch done, we've outlined it, and now we're ready to begin coloring. But the coloring is also a rather complex part to it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to start off with a base coat color for every single color on our characters. For Link, for his hair, I'm going to start off with a yellow. I'm just going to lightly color all of his hair yellow. This is going to be my starting point for my colors. You're going to find that this gives you a much more even color than you would normally have, and it makes it so that there's a lot less white in your color. Makes it a lot brighter. And you're pretty much going to lay down a base coat color for all the colors on your characters. So, let's get it started. So we've got all our base coat colors down, and as you can tell, this drawing looks very flat at the moment. What we're going to do to improve this is we are going to shade, and I've already sort of predetermined where my light source is going to be based upon the glare in the eyes. I'm going to have the lighting source sort of up here, sort of to the side of Link, And the same will go for that character up there, Fi, something like that. And we're going to shade away from that light source by taking a darker color, like say a darker yellow for the hair, and shading away from that light source. What this is going to do is this is going to give us a lot of depth in the drawing, and it's going to make our characters sort of pop. Make them seem a little bit more 3D, since they're not 3D at all. Let's get started. We're going to do the same for about every single color on Link and Fi, sword, spirit thing. And this is going to make our drawing look really cool. We might go through a couple different shades of color, just to get the contrast we're looking for. For the face, they chose to use a very definite shading style, and they made the features of the face stand out a lot more than you normally would. So we're going to do that as well. We're sort of going to contour it based upon how his shape is faced, how his face is shaped. Wow. I'm going to lighten that up. I'm going to darken it a little bit. Add a little bit of shadow beneath his hair. Make it look like his hair is above him, above his head. Sort of create a little bit more highlight on his boots. We're going to bring out the eraser, get a better contrast there. And then something interesting I found about the style with how they shaded the characters in the artwork was that they added a lot of blue color to the darker shadows. And it was sort of like they blurred the shadows together with the watercolor. And I thought it looked really cool, and it actually sort of unifies the drawing, sort of brings it together. All the different colors sort of become one. And now we're going to shade Miss Fi. I would really appreciate if you guys would tell me how to say her name in the comments below. That would help me out a bunch. But in starting off, we're sort of going to make her head almost seem translucent. It's just how they made her seem. She has a very dark spot behind her head, I guess, or inside her head. Just like that. And it goes the whole length of her face down to her neck. It's right behind everything. And for this character as well, our extreme highlights are really going to make this drawing pop. I'm going to add a lot of highlights on both sides of this character, so that way the inside seems to be the thing that's shaded more. The way they shaded on this character was quite interesting, because they left a lot of blotches and spots of color. Sort of like circles almost, but not quite. It's very free. Very free style. Just lots of highlights and light spots everywhere. And the area where Link's arm is, we're going to make it a bit darker. So that way it makes his arm stand out a lot more. Just like that. Awesome. Now here comes the really fun part about the sword, and that's going to be the streak. The watercolor looking streak that we make going across here. Now I was intending on having this look like it passed right in front of him. And we're really trying to blend in the background out here. And now we will take a couple different colors, like this blue. Just mostly blues, and we're going to blend them in together to make this look awesome. And here is my finished drawing of Link and the Skyward Sword. And quite honestly, this turned out amazing. I really like all the colors I was able to do on it, all the shading, and this turned out way better than I would have expected it to. Once again, I'm just really happy with this drawing, but that's just me. You guys should let me know what you think of the drawing in the comments below. Let me know what you liked about it or didn't like about it. Let me know how I can improve, and I'll get back to you. I'll actually reply to your comment. I do that a lot. And also, if you like this drawing, you should consider subscribing, because I plan on making way more video game character drawings as soon as I stop getting so much homework. And this was actually a request from a contest winner, but if you would like to send me a normal request / suggestion, you can go to my channel and message me, because I guess they're going to be getting rid of the moderators module and most of the other stuff with the new channel design. So just instead of putting in the moderators module, just message me and I'll get back to you guys, and I might pick your request and it might become one of these cool drawings someday. So thank you guys for watching this video, and until next time, keep on drawing. So now I'm gonna have links pop up with video annotations so you guys can watch a video instead of watching me, because I'm boring. I'm gonna turn the camera off. That'd be a good idea. Bye!